Welcome back, creatures. Many of you asked for a double special video, so here we are for a double special feature. And now I'd like to say something real quick. At the beginning of the video, we used 24 seconds worth of copywritten music, so that means that this video will be not monetized, which is not good, and it kills the creative process, but here we are, right? With that said, if you'd like to throw me a bone and join the memberships, feel free to do so. I'm not asking you to spend a lot of money, and I'm not asking you to stick around with it, but if you just want to throw me a little bone because you've been enjoying the content, feel free to do so. But with that out of the way, let's just jump right into the double special feature. So when it comes to running double special in Destiny, full transparency, it is the better way to play the game. It is just more enjoyable. It's a better experience, and specials do more damage than primaries, obviously. It's overall just better. It really is. I will say, though, there's a little caveat here. There are times where you will use a primary. That little caveat, with that caveat being, though, your primary is more so for util things. For example, the Celestial Still Hunt kind of rotation. You're typically going to be running a primary with that. And with that, you're mostly running it for attrition orbs. If you're running a primary, you're primarily running it for attrition orbs, and that's about it. And your alternative to that is a shoot to loot primary for when you're in damage. But outside of that, I gotta be honest, just run double special. And we're going to cover a handful of double specials. Not all the specials in this game, obviously, because that's a very long list. But we're going to be covering a lot of them that I use, other people use, and just are generally the best combinations and options to use. I probably will miss a few, admittedly. So, and I'm sure there's going to be somebody in the comments talking about some Red War special, and it's like really, really cool still or something. But that aside, let's just jump right into it. One of the more important ones I'd say is Unsworn. Now, unfortunately, the dungeon's no longer in the rotator this week, and God only knows when it will be back. If you want to do Southern Doctrine on Master, be my guest. But this is the best in slot kinetic trace. It has shoot to loot, therefore it's the best. And I highly recommend going for this. Now, the thing with this, right, again, is that you have to do Thunder Doctrine for it. And that's no longer rotated around. It's rotated out, which really sucks. But when it rotates back around, you can just do the lock set farming where you just snap it, or even do the Hunter Blade Barrage version of that, and it just ignites over and over and over, and then it just dies. That's what SB and I were doing when we farmed for Unsworn, and it took a long time for it to drop for me. SB got them fairly regularly. I, on the other hand, not so much. It was a bit of a struggle, and at first I was wanting Chaos Reshaped on this, as Chaos Reshaped was newly added to this, and Chaos Reshaped is typically just best in slot when it's around. However, getting this roll with Detonator Beam has changed my mind on that, because Detonator Beam basically just allows it to be somewhat like shoot to loot, as you're going to be able to see in some of the footage in one of the corners, or one of the 3 spots here. There's times where I just lay into a barrier champ, something of that nature, and the Detonator Beam goes off, and it just gathers all that ammo right there. It's very, very nice. Now, an energy slot weapon that I really, really like is this Psycho Chomp here, okay? Yes, I know that's not what its actual name is, but that's what I call it. Psycho Chomp. So, auto-loading attrition orbs. It's just so insanely good. Basically, it's the one from the dungeon, the Void one, the first one with attrition orbs, the first area denial with attrition orbs. It's basically that, but better. Y'all remember when that thing first came out, by the way? When it would spawn orbs like every 2 seconds? It was insane. Anyways, you might be wondering, where do I get this? Well, it's from Pit of Heresy. You get this from Pit of Heresy. I don't think Pit of Heresy is rotated around right now. I'm not going to stop this video and check. So, when Pit of Heresy is around, I highly, highly recommend going for this. And could you do this for some damage rotation things too? Because you have like elemental honing on here, and you have this origin trait on here, which this origin trait's really good. I'm pretty sure it's an 8% increase in damage. I will point out though, I feel like it has some weird interaction issues with the area denial frame, and that it doesn't always work with it, but it does at the same time. But it is an 8% damage increase if memory serves. And that origin trait is also why the LFR from Pit of Heresy is the best LFR in the game, because it gets the 4th times elemental honing, but it has an origin trait that gives it 8 additional damage, or 8% increased damage. The only problem being LFRs suck, which is a real shame. I miss LFRs. I really do. Moving along though, back to the kinetic slot. We're gonna touch on the most obvious things here. Rocket pulses. Rocket pulses are still just so insanely good in the game. Even if they're not as good as they once were for boss damage, they still just absolutely annihilate everything else in the game. Everything else gets annihilated by them. And I wish that we got a new one in the kinetic slot, because I am tired of Mint Retrograde. I really am tired of Mint Retrograde. I want a new one. I want one with better perks, because as good as Mint Retrograde's perks are, they were definitely more geared towards it being a damage weapon, if that makes sense, than more so a util weapon, which is what rocket pulses have kind of shifted to. They've shifted from damage weapons, damage pulses, to more of a util, just nuke everything else and then not necessarily use it on a boss, if that makes sense what I'm saying. So I feel like that this rocket pulse is kind of a little outdated now. And I know that it got like a slight refresh, but it's still the same rolls. It just has Cascade Point on it now, and it sucks. But the SRL Rocket Pulse. Now this is the Rocket Pulse you want to be going for, ladies and gentlemen. Is this the exact roll that I want? Quite frankly, no. But it's the roll that I'm going to get and use and blah, 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 because SRL, quite frankly, sucks, and I wish it worked properly, but I'm so tired of the gates just stop working when you're in first place. I'm tired of it, and I got this one, and I got out. The main things that you're going to be going for on this is air trigger and sword logic. I've covered this before in one of my other videos, but the main thing is air trigger basically gives it a bunch more ammo gen. So you see it goes down to 32 without it, and with this it goes up to 62. And now could I run abundant ammo and get that up to 6-7? Then yes I could, and yes I made that joke. But because I unfortunately don't have the mag that I want, I'm going to stick with bandolier. Now I have messed around with extended mag and air trigger for the reload speed to make up for it, but quite frankly, I think just sitting with flared, sitting with 5 with bandolier, it's fine. It does its job. It works well. But yeah, main thing, sword logic, air trigger. This thing is a util beast. It definitely outperforms the Arc one from like last season, 2 seasons ago when it came out now. When did that? Yeah, that was like 2 seasons. Anyways, point is, it's weird keeping track of seasons and times with how they work. Well, how they did work, I guess, towards the end of the lifespan of Destiny. Point is, this is definitely the best energy slot one, and I highly recommend going for it. And now I know, I can already see you talking about Incandescent being right there. Incandescent is a very, very mediocre perk that only realistically works in lower end content, and at that point, there's still not much point in it, because everything's gonna fall over anyways, right? See where I'm going with that? Now, another util special that I really do enjoy running with double special would be Choir of One. Unfortunately, ever since Moments of Triumph started, I did begin to neglect Choir of One, and I feel bad about that, because Choir of One is by far one of the best, but also one of the coolest exotics we have ever had. This thing is amazing. I love it. I love its design. I love its philosophy. I love everything about it. And even with the nerfs, this thing is still a monster. They tried to come after its ammo econ for like a 3rd time, and it still comes out on top. Now, quite frankly, D-stave rounds is still one of the better go-to options here, right? The only problem is that in the current state of Destiny, there's so much that you could find in the artifacts that just give you D-stave rounds that I've begun believing that D-stave might not be the best perk option on a lot of void weapons simply because there's typically at least one thing in each artifact, or well, each artifact that you should be running that can just give you volatile rounds easily. So, like this one, for example, right? Rapid Void weapon precision hits and Rapid Void weapon final blows grant volatile rounds. You can just do that while running Onslaught instead. You see where I'm going with that? But before then, I would definitely say hands down D-Stave. But these days, D-Stave rounds are a little bit more touchy to me because there's just so many ways to get them now that I don't know if it's worth the perk slot anymore on any void weapons simply because there's just so many ways to get them. Now, obviously, if you're not running one of those things, you can just keep D-Stave. It's either this or Onslaught. Those are kind of your options. I will say though, you should very rarely ever hip fire this thing. You should always just do the ADS hard hitting precision special auto rifle damage. That was a really weird phrase, but you should know what I'm talking about. You should get what I'm getting at here. Um, I will say another thing that annoys me about this gun is the weird amount of zoom it has, or how tight it is when you're ADSing. It's kind of annoying, but it is still just insanely good. I love this thing so much, and I'm gonna start using it more again because I miss using it. But it is kind of hard to choose it over some of these other things here. And of course, we have the DL44, everybody's favorite. No, I never got a good gold version of this. And no, I'm not going to go run more Star Wars content. I'm tired of it. I have the gold refurbished roll. I don't need this. The whole interaction with Lucky Pants got nerfed. But even then, even with that nerf, this thing is still really, really good. And as you can see, I'm running the enhanced heat generator. I'm not even running any of these, well, it would only be abundant ammo. But with abundant ammo and air trigger, you could get to 100, but you're at 95. You're sitting at a crisp 95. This thing hits like a truck. This thing is still amazing. But is it worth the pain of doing the Star Wars content? That is a good question. Truthfully, you should go get a refurbished, so you might as well get this along the way. But really, really good. And again, this is another weapon that I start neglecting with Moments of Triumph. And I do miss using it. I miss using Choir of One as well. But a lot of what we're doing, I'm just on still hunt. So kind of sucks, right? Now you might be asking, what am I doing with this in my inventory? It's just simply movement. It's just movement tech. There is some damage rotation stuff that you can do with micro missiles. And micro missile GLs are good, but I mostly just use them for movement stuff. Same with Gizmo. This thing is amazing. I love this thing. I like this roll simply for movement tech. This is by no means the end all be all of the roll. I'm pretty sure I can get air assault on it, and obviously you can see slice on here. But it's really good. I like it for movement because bipod, but then it also has some good damage rotations that you can do with it. This is one of the ones that you can get from the engrams at the Moments of Triumph thing. You'll have to go digging around to see which one of them it is, but it's definitely worth going for. And this is also one of the ones from the engrams. Don't recall which one, but it is one of them. Highly recommend having one of each, just because it depends on what you're kind of doing for movement stuff, right? If you're fine using the LARP saber, you can go with this. If you're fine using Ergo Sum for movement stuff, you can go with this. And even then, Ergo Sum or LARP saber for movement stuff's like very niche. But speedrunners know, you know. And now the best in slot area denial for kinetic is by far this bad boy right here. This isn't even necessarily the role that I want. I would want air trigger with chaos reshaped, and you can get auto loading on here, pretty sure. Yeah, you can get auto loading on here. So you can do some damage rotations with this. The only problem with this bad boy is it does not get attrition orbs, and that sucks. That sucks. The strand one from Solstice that can get attrition orbs, but it has not that great of first column perks, which is a shame. But here we are. This is definitely the best. I love air trigger on here because, as you can see, I have 100 ammo gen on this thing. I'm just printing ammo, and everything's basically dying. Again, if this thing had air trigger attrition orbs, by God, this would be one of the best kinetic weapons that you could possibly have and use. This is currently available in Warden of Nothing right now. The GM alert thing, this is currently available. Go get it. I am telling you, you want to have at least some variation of this, and you will be so very grateful for it. I'm telling you. I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you the truth. Now, another really, really great special exotic is No Land Beyond. This thing has amazing precision damage, amazing ammo econ, and it's all around one of the best specials in the game. It's kind of new Izzy, but also better at the same time because it has better ammo econ. So, No Land Beyond. I'm pretty sure that they finally gave you a way to get it without paying for it. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure with Moments of Triumph, you're able to get this without paying for it, which is really, really great. So you should go get it, get the catalyst, level it up, do this. It's basically just better Izzy at this point because it has better ammo econ. I miss using Izzy so much. I'm going to go on a little tirade here. What is with the amount of people in LFGs that just don't have the Izzy catalyst done? You kind of need the Izzy catalyst. Not even kind of. You do need the Izzy catalyst to make Izzy worthwhile. I remember when the Izanagi catalyst came out, and I remember how insane that thing was. They had to nerf it. It was nerfed pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure it was only like a few weeks or a month later or something. I don't really remember. It's been too long. But I remember that it was really, 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 really great when it first came out. And I remember using it when it first came out, getting it and all that. And it was amazing. And then they nerfed it. But you still need it. You still need it. Basically, if I recall correctly, how it works currently is Izzy with the catalyst in its current state is what base Izzy used to be. And so base Izzy, before it got all nerfed, with its old catalyst was just that much better. Obviously, damage numbers are different now, and I hate the new damage numbers, and I prefer the old ones, but here we are, right? Either way, that tangent out of the way, on the side, right? No Land Beyond, definitely worth it. Love this thing to death. Highly recommend it. Now, something like Succession. Succession ended up getting elemental honing, as you can see here. And I've been a little conflicted on it because, on one hand, kinetics with elemental honing have higher damage buffs than energy weapons with elemental honing. And typically on Priz, especially on Priz, you're going to have elemental honing at least at ×3 typically. So typically, you're going to have a higher damage buff with elemental honing on here than you would with Vorpal, and then in addition to that, it's applying to everything, not just bosses and vehicles, right? So it's this thing that I'm going back and forth on personally, where it's like, do I want the Vorpal on here, or do I just want the elemental honing on here? It's a bit of a dilemma. So that one I would like to hear from y'all. Do you think elemental honing or Vorpal on Succession? Because mostly Succession's here for util things, in my opinion, where it's just you get quick crit on like a orange knight or something to like that, right? And so elemental honing or Vorpal, kind of up to you. And how could we forget? I don't have it over here, but you also have threat level, which is the best in slot shotgun. Let me go retrieve that real quick. Actually, again, I'm doing all of this very off the cuff as I normally go. Let's get this bad boy over here. We love our threat level, best in slot shotgun in the game. Obviously, this isn't the all-star role, but this is the 1-2 trench role. This is still by far the best in slot shotgun for the kinetic slot. It's probably just the best shotgun, period. I have seen things about the moon shotgun, the slug one though. I've seen some things start getting spewed about that, so maybe keep an eye on that because that also gets all-star on it. So keep an eye out for that. You get that at Sorrow's Harbor. So to kind of bring this all together a little bit more. You have special weapons that are your harder hitting weapons that you're using to blow up orange bars and things of that nature, and you have your util ones that are more so just there to help your other special weapon, right? And you also have your primaries that you can use, but those are mostly util things for attrition orbs or even ammo gem. But even then, you can get some pretty good ammo gem with double special, especially with, these bad boys right here. The only two pieces that you should ever be running on any class that isn't Titan in GM content. But that's only like that's such a small amount of content. It's such a shame, the state of Titan, but I've already made a video about that. Regardless, use double special. I don't want to see double primaries. Please, for the love of God, stop running double primaries. I did not suffer through year 1 of D2 for you to still use double primaries nearly a decade later. So stop, please. Now, if you want to use a primary, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. They are, to some extent, useful. There are times where they can be used and useful. And no hierarchy of needs doing this much damage is not one of the cases. I hate that. So I wish that would get fixed. I'm pretty sure that's unintended. And I'm tired of seeing it in LGs. I really am. Especially because people don't understand how it actually works and they do like no damage with it. And then they just keep using it anyways. But regardless, use double special when you can. Use double special when you should. And if you're going to use a primary, understand that it's there for util more than anything. But ultimately, double special kind of is the way to go. With that all said, thank you for watching. I probably did miss some stuff here, but who cares? And yeah, wake me when you need me.